You mentioned you're a gypsy, but in one way you found a place. This is more of a metaphysical place, not a physical place. An anchor in heartfulness. How did that start?
Oh, I'm the least likely person that could have that would have joined a system with a guru. Somehow, and this is a somehow, I met Babuji, and after that I said I don't care. He may be a guru, he may not be a guru. I just want to hang out with this guy.
Where was that meeting? Where was that first meeting?
Actually, I met him a little earlier than I joined. My brother was in the system, so he used to come and pick me up from the hostel to take me home on weekends. So one weekend he said, do you mind, my guru is going to Europe for the first time and he's in Delhi now. Would you mind if I take you there first before we go home? I said, yes, of course, your guru, I'll go. So I went and I was introduced to him by my brother. And I just did the usual namaste and didn't feel anything at that time. It was just... but then, I have to go back and tell you something that happened that I didn't connect to this event at that time. One day I was in the hostel. I don't know why. All of a sudden I had this intense longing to just close my eyes and ask, and no reason at all. I wasn't having any catastrophic situation, nothing. I said, God, if you're there, show yourself to me. And I just, out of the blue, this thought came to me. I sat for a few minutes and I said, okay, chalo, chalte hain. That was it. But then when I go back and look at the dates, it was within a week that I met Babuji.
Wow.
But I didn't realize it. Yeah, at that time when I went, I thought he was my brother's guru. No.
It's only later that you connected the dots.
Yeah, that's because I just realized that, once somebody told me, of course, everybody tells you that it's not an accident. Mm-hmm. And I knew it was not an accident because how can you suddenly fall in love with an old man like that? So I used to wonder, why am I feeling like this? But there was no excuse, no explanation, but I was happy. I just said, it doesn't have to be, I don't have to go I don't have to go to Central Region or do anything like that. I'll hang out with this guy.
Wow.
And there used to be a very devoted Abhyasi who used to be with Babuji. His name was Satpalji. And we used to, during Bhandaras, everybody would chase after him to understand the details of Sahaj Marg and all. So once he gave this explanation, and I thought that was really neat. He said, भाई मैं सेंट्रल रीजन वेंट्रल रीजन कोई नहीं जानता, मैंने इस बूढ़े को पकड़ रखा, ये कहीं भी ले जाए ठीक है.
Wow.
And I thought that explained exactly what I felt, I was not interested in spiritual. I wasn't interested in reaching the central region or doing anything else like that.
The theory of
it. At the same time, I knew there was a method to this madness. The scientist in me was constantly deliberating on what does this mean and what does that mean. I'd go read and I would understand some of it I wouldn't understand. But at the same time, there was this curious part of me, the child part of me that said, hey, I'm hanging out with the best guy, why worry about these things? I knew that this kind of relationship is possible. That I understood. But I didn't understand the mechanics of it. How is it? I remember when they told me that about transmission, and then when I used to deliberate on this understanding of constant remembrance, I said, Dimag mein to, how can you do two things at a time? Huh? How can you be in remembrance and do something else? I said, how can you do surgery being in remembrance? How can you do this? So, I was kind of making very practical correlations, and that didn't fit. But then I knew that there was something very special about this guy, that I didn't care. I mean, he didn't have to be the most famous man. He didn't have to be the most sought after man. He was there and I was there. We were happy. And that's all we used to do, you know. Even when he got to spend time with him, I used to tell him, you rest. And then he'll take his hookah and he'll just smoke away, and then I'd just sit there and quietly listen to him. That's it. Listen to the hookah, that was it.
Wow. Because as far as gurus go, he had very little of the kind of accoutrements you expect of a guru, you know, the kind of larger-than-life image some gurus have, you know, some spiritual teachers have, who dress grandiosely and have a large entourage and sit up on a throne. Was he like that at all?
No, he was the simplest man, and he was the most childlike man I have ever seen. And so, for me, it was like my old buddy, who knows a lot, and I just hang out with him, that's it. I didn't care that, you know, like later on when I used to think about, after I got to see his diaries and all, I used to think, my God, I was sitting with him and he was having these great conversations with all these great guys, and he didn't let on. And that is the beauty of his existence, I think. To me, there was never this, and there was this utmost sincerity. It wasn't like he was putting it on. And when he says, my simplicity is a veil, you understood exactly what he meant. Because he was like that. Utter simplicity. And utter innocence. And he never said a word that was out of place. I've never heard him use one word extra than he needed to use. And that, you know, when they say that saintliness is a proper use of faculties, this is something that I understood earlier, I saw earlier, but I recognized it in him more than anybody else I had ever seen.